Welcome to Week 1 of the Legacy Leaders Guide. I'm Patricia, also known as Trish or Patty, and I'm genuinely glad that you're here. Thank you for your company. You're joining other leaders who made the same decision you did to stop avoiding this work. Before we dive in, let me be clear about what we're building here. This isn't a course where I lecture and you listen. This is a guild. And you are the founding members. What you learn, what you struggle with, what you figure out, that shapes this program for everyone who comes after you. In this first video, we're tackling the elephant in the room, why brilliant leaders who plan everything else avoid planning for their own end of life. Then in video 2, we'll get into your actual work for the week. So let's start with the uncomfortable truth of the planning paradox. Here's what I know about you already. You plan, you're good at it. You have strategic plans, succession plans, quarterly projections, risk assessments. You run scenarios. You build contingencies. You know how to look 3 years down the road, reverse engineer the steps to get there. And yet, you probably don't have a healthcare proxy. Or, if you have one, you've never actually talked to that person about what you want. Or you haven't updated your will in 8 years. Or your important documents are scattered across 3 different filing systems. Or your kids have no idea what you want at your funeral. I call this the planning paradox. You're brilliant at professional planning and terrible at personal legacy planning. And when I point this out, you say, I'm too busy. But here's the thing. You're not too busy. You're avoiding. Too busy is what high-performing people say when they don't want to admit that they're uncomfortable. So let me give you a real example. I worked with an executive, James, who had a 50-page succession plan for the company. He knew who would take over every single role. He had mentored his replacement for 3 years. But he had no healthcare proxy, no power of attorney, his wife had no idea where their account passwords were. And when I asked him about it, he said, I've been meaning to, but I've just been so busy with the transition. He could plan his company's future without him, but he could not plan for his family's future without him. And that's the gap we're closing. Not because you lack skills, you have all the skills, but you're applying them everywhere except the place that matters most, the cost. When something happens, and something always happens, your family scrambles, decisions get made in crisis mode, people guess what you would have wanted, conflicts surface. And all of it could have been prevented doing what you already know how to do, plan. So why do smart, capable, strategic people avoid this? It's not about time. It's not about knowing where to start. It's about 3 things: control, mortality, discomfort. Let's start with control. You're used to being the person who makes things happen. You solve problems. You drive outcomes. And death? You can't strategize your way out of death. You can't optimize it or delegate it or hack it. That loss of control is profoundly uncomfortable for people who are used to controlling everything. Second obstacle. You can't fully delegate this. In your professional life, you build teams. You've hired people smarter than you for specific areas. You trust them to execute. But your end-of-life planning, you can get help, yes, but you have to be the one who makes the decisions. You have to have the conversations, and no one can do this for you. It's exhausting for people who are already decision fatigue. Third, if you can't do it perfectly, you don't start. And end-of-life planning feels so final and so consequential. So you wait, and then, well, that means you never start. And here's the fourth. Decision fatigue in an area that really matters. You make hundreds of decisions every week. Most of those don't matter much. If you pick the wrong marketing strategy, you pivot. If you hire the wrong person, you course correct. But decisions about your death, they feel permanent, final. And the weight of that makes you shut down. Here's a shift we're making over the next 5 weeks. from avoidance to action, not from fear to confidence, not from unprepared to perfectly prepared, from avoidance to action, because action is what changes everything. Actions create beliefs. Here's the core principle of everything we're doing together. Actions create beliefs, not the other way around. You don't need to feel ready before you start. You don't need to have worked through all your mortality anxiety before you write your healthcare proxy. You just need to take the next action. And here's proof. You already did it. You registered for the program, and that was an action. And I'm willing to bet that the moment you clicked register, something shifted. Maybe it was relief. Maybe it was a quiet sense of, okay, I'm finally doing this. That is action creating belief. This week, we're going to identify exactly where you are and what's actually stopping you. Not what you tell yourself is stopping you, but what's really stopping you. Because once you can name it, you can move past it. The work ahead isn't about feelings. It's about decisions and conversations. Feelings may come up. That's fine. But we're not waiting for feelings to change. We're taking action, and the beliefs will follow. Okay, now we understand why leaders do this: control issues, mortality, discomfort, perfectionism. Let's talk about how to move forward. In video 2, we'll walk you through the actual exercises for this week, your values work, your honest diagnostic of what's stopping you, and the one commitment that you're making before our live session. So now you can take a break if you want one and come back to video 2.